Okay, well, I'll send it to everybody who's registered. All right, awesome. Well, welcome. Y'all can see my screen, right? The presentation. Thumbs up. We're good.
Yes.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, let's get started. If you are here ready to go to Colombia, thank you. Really grateful for this. I am very excited to have you all here. So, bienvenidos a Medellin. That is actually the capital of the area that we're going to be going in. There's a lot of different cities and towns. Medellin is just one of the bigger cities, and we'll learn much more of the history once we are in Colombia. Um, so what we're doing, oh gosh, why is that showing up like that? Ah, all right. It is what it is. I don't know why these things keep showing up. Okay. So what it is, and this presentation was given to me by the local tour guides. When they gave it to me, it was in Spanish, so I was able to translate it, but I did keep some of the Spanish just because that's basically what this trip is going to be about. It is going to be bilingual. That way you'll be immersed in Spanish, hear it around you, yet our tour guide will be speaking in English. But so that you'll be able to hear the locals speaking and sometimes even amongst participants speaking Spanish. However, it's not going to be an immersion where you need to know Spanish. We'll definitely make sure that you're comfortable and understand everything that's happening, as again, our local tour guide is bilingual, English and Spanish speaker. So this is a 9 day. So even though if you look at the calendar, it says 10 days, but I made it 9 full days and we'll show you what that's going to look like. So you want to think about it's going to be 9 full days and 9 nights, which is all inclusive, sacred guided journey through Medellin and other areas of Colombia, which you'll get to experience as well. And put a little video together. Maybe it'll work, or there it is. So these are some of the highlights that you'll get to experience during the retreat. We'll have daily mindful practices, always in the morning. It could be yoga, it could be movement, it could be a mindfulness meditative walk, but it's something that we'll start as a group together to practice mindfulness in a group setting. And then we will move into the day's activities. And again, we'll break that down. And you'll also be on an adventure. So it's not only meditation time or mindfulness or quiet time, but there's going to be quite a few opportunities to experience things, perhaps for the first time or something that you get to do again. And it's going to be in group settings. But again, everything is optional. If, let's say, we're going kayaking and that day you're just like, I am not for it in this moment. And the kayaking, it's low level rapids. We're all going to be on one large raft. Well, it depends on the number of participants that they allow. So it could be between one or two rafts, just depending. But it's not going to be anything dangerous. It's going to be calm, maybe a little bumpy at times, but we'll have, again, just amazing tour guides that will ensure that we're taken care of. This is all level activity. And of course, something that is really important is that you also get to experience free time. Because I know after being in a group setting with different people, whether you know them or not, sometimes you just want to be by yourself. And we've implemented different opportunities where you'll be able to experience that. And it's like my first time doing this complete webinar by myself. And I'm like, oh, so different. Normally I have my little helper. Okay, that's just not going to work. All right, so we'll move on. So our local tour guides, which not sure why they're not here today, but they may have gotten the dates mixed up. But we'll have as participants in early August a meeting just for the retreat participants with the local tour guide. So you get to meet them and ask them any questions, really have a chance to connect. So our local tour guide will be Gina. She is bilingual and she will be the one leading us on our adventures. Nancy and John, they'll also be there as well, but they're more the behind the scenes, putting all of this together, which I am very, very grateful for because I'm in Miami. I'm not in Colombia. And so they've been on the ground talking to people, arranging all of these different locations that we're going to be going to, the transportation, the activities, and the meals. So really grateful for them, and they've just put amazing things together, which we're going to notice here. So on day one, we're going to be arriving at the airport. Now I'm going to be sending an email soon in the next couple of days as a reminder, as you start getting your airfare, what time to arrive on day one, which is September 10th. So we want everybody to be there uh, gathered by about 1:30 in the afternoon or 2 p.m. Just, I know flights are different depending on where you're coming from, but if everybody can arrive by 2, then that means we can get together and get on the road. The good thing is where we are going into Medellin, the airport is very small. So you literally go out, go through immigration. It's very fast. Well, depending on the immigration line, just because there's only about like 4 or 5 people. And if there's 2 or 3 airlines coming in at the same time, it may have a line. But once you go in through that, just continue following the line to the baggage claim. And there's only about 3 different lanes of baggage claim. So again, it's very simple and it's only one direction out the door. And we're going to have, I'll be there early and I'll be with the tour guide, and we're going to be waiting for you with open arms to help gather you and your suitcases. And then we're going to all get into the private transportation that we have and head over to our next destination, which is where we're going to be for the majority of the time, which is Entre Mundos, which means between worlds. And Entre Mundo, this is basically a drone shot view of the location. So the entrance is right here. And then this is kind of one of the lodging areas that has about 3 or 4 private rooms. And then going over here, if I remember correctly, this is kind of like the lunch area. And then upstairs are more private rooms and shared rooms. Down here, this is where, again, if I remember, it looks very different coming in. But basically, this is a 2-floor like auditorium area, so that they have where we're going to be doing the yoga classes, the mariposas dance, and other activities as a large group. And then these little domes, I'm sure by the time we get there, they're going to be different because they are constantly expanding. Some of these domes people can stay in. And other times, these are the domes where they offer healing sessions. And so, as my gift for the first 10 participants, you're all going to receive 60-minute healing sessions. And we'll talk more about what those look like in our group call in August so that you can start giving me ideas of what you're looking for. If you want like a massage or Reiki session, it won't be by me. They have amazing practitioners, and I want to give that to them because I will probably be receiving. And so you'll have opportunity throughout the retreat to identify when. And again, we'll have more of the list of what the modalities that would be offered. What else? And in this building, they have you climb upstairs and they have this beautiful library that you can just sit in it, read books, or just kind of look out the window, which is open air. And all of this is just green pasture. And over this way, which you're not able to see, are the mountains. Beautiful, beautiful experience. So I really think that you're going to love it. So again, we're going to be here for a few days. And there we go. I repeat it again. On day 2, we're going into the heart of Medellin. And we're going to be traveling just like the locals do. So we're going to be traveling. This is called Metro Cable, which is basically kind of like gondolas going through the city. And we're going to travel on that as well as a metro rail. So it's pretty exciting. And again, we'll have our tour guides with us and the logistic people. So that way we can be in small groups, yet all like close together, if that makes sense. So that so it's not super obvious that we're not from there. And we can also just stay safe being in small groups while we travel along. But again, we're going to all be together. We're also going to visit some parks. These are very common parks or popular parks called Plaza Botero. And the local tour guide, Gina, will be explaining more about that. These are just other locations that we'll be going through. You'll see a lot of art. And one of the locations that we're going to be going to is called Comuna 13. And what that means is it's the 13th community. It's a small town in the areas of Colombia. So like, for example, if you notice here, there's a bunch of houses, like earth-colored buildings, and these are all spread out in different comunas or neighborhoods. Comuna 13, the reason I wanted us to go on this specific day, one, it's 9/11 or September 11th, and that is definitely imprinted in our minds forever of something that happened in our lifetimes. And Comuna 13 or Comuna 13 represents a time when, during Pablo Escobar's time in Colombia, who was a drug lord, really took over Colombia and made things very dangerous. There's a lot of murder, a lot of drugs, a lot of violence. And Comuna 13 was in that depth, was in that space. And the community, the youth especially, have transformed it into a place of urban art, resilience, and a vibrant culture. And so we're going to be able to go in there safely and interact with the youth. And that's one of the things that we're working on, is participating in a local activity, which could be either visiting them as they're painting a mural or watching them present like some dance. I'm not sure. As we get closer to the time, the local guides will be confirming what that's going to look like. So I'll just keep going through the days, and then at the end we'll all be answering any questions that you may have. So on day 3, we're going to a town, and this place is so beautiful. I remember going there with my in-laws, and I was like, this is a place that we have to come back to. And fortunately, we are. It's called Guatapé. And this is a town of socotos and colors. And what that means is that if you notice, so they do actually have a location where these umbrellas are.
Mhm.
So of course we'll be taking lots of pictures. And socotas are these murals that are kind of lined on the bottom of all the residences and also storefronts. So these are, and they all depict various scenes of the culture. Another place that we're going to visit is called Piñol. This is a giant rock. It is huge. And you have the option for all the daredevils, have the option of climbing up. That is the only way you can go up, is walking up all the way to the top, and then you get to see the view. For most people, there's like an area that we can hang out, that you can still see some beautiful scenes without going all the way up top. And those who go up top will just say, send us your pictures. So that's another thing that we'll be doing. And then we're also going to be visiting the old Piñol, which is a town that they decided to put underwater to create a reservoir. And so here is the reservoir, which is out full of water. But on certain times of the day, you can actually, when the low tide is there, you could see the top of the steeple that's underwater. It's kind of cool. And what else? We're also going on a boat ride around the reservoir, so you get to see it in different angles. So I was like, we have to go on the boat. Can we go on the boat? Like, yes. So this was a lot of fun putting together. On day 4, we're going to leave Entre Mundos, and we're going to be spending that night at a Bosque Hotel, which is basically the hotel in the woods. And it might sound a little primitive, but this is a boutique hotel, very comfortable. They have private rooms, they have shared rooms, they have walking trails. We're going to also get to experience a community event where they're going to be putting out a movie under the stars. So we'll get to enjoy that. But this is actually a time that the intention is being able to really disconnect. Disconnecting is my intention. Again, everybody will be able to do what they want, but being able to disconnect from the phone for a few hours, disconnecting from your day to day, and really just going for a walk among the trees. You can have chance to like read a book by the pool, go swimming, whatever it is that you want, but it's a time to just kind of come back to you. And we'll have opportunities to do group settings or activities, excuse me, and also solo time. So that's going to be like right smack in the middle of the retreat. Then on day 5, we're spending 2 nights at the Bosque Hotel. So that will give you plenty of time to rest. On day 5, nearby, we're going rafting. So this is where we'll be in a group on a raft. And again, depending on how many participants end up coming together. And this is actually clear water. It's very beautiful. People enjoy coming. And we'll be doing that in the morning. So that will be an early rise. And then in the afternoon, we're going to an area called Santorino Colombiano. Basically, what it means, it's the Greek version of Santorino in Colombia. So they have the same white architecture, the blue doors, very beautiful and picturesque as well. And lots of, when I was looking it up myself, there's so many people taking pictures, so they'll have opportunities of that as well. On day 6, we'll leave this beautiful boutique and these activities, and we're going to head back to Entre Mundos. And we're going to walk around the city of Guarne, which is basically right outside of Entre Mundos. And this is actually where my in-laws live. So we'll get a chance to meet them. When and where, we're still working that out because my mother-in-law is like, I'm going to cook for them. We're going to make things together. She gets very, very excited. So we're like, don't want to overwhelm her with like a bunch of people. So we're kind of figuring that out. Maybe meet her for some coffee, where she'll get to share her experiences. But she speaks really fast Spanish, so the tour guide will have a field day with that. It's very enjoyable. And here in Guarne, there's also a lot of history. There's murals. This is one of the things that they created as a way to show peace in Colombia. And then this is basically information about, or we're going to visit different things about their history. This is representing, I forget now what they mentioned, but basically this is like representing the agriculture. So this is a family who lives in the campo or in the countryside. Um, all right, let me scooch this over. Whee! Okay. So on day 7, we're going to hit the road again, and we're going to spend a couple of nights. I think it's one night, to be honest, now that I think about it. So it's one night, yes, sorry, one night, in which we're going to visit a flower farm. Have any of you received or purchased flowers and you notice that they come from Colombia? Well, if you ever have, we are going to one of the areas where they cultivate the flowers that come to the United States and elsewhere. So these, and then we're going to also experience, this is called Cultura Citera, and they were going to explain it. But basically, these are people who decorate these kind of wooden structures, and then people put it on their back and walk. Again, Gina is going to explain much more of the history of that, so I'm not going to go much into detail because it won't do it justice. But then we're going to have lunch in a typical wood-fired oven. So they'll prepare the food at a local restaurant, and it is so, so yummy. So imagine like broiled chicken, but wood-fired. We're going to also have vegetable options, and you're going to be able to let us know if there's food preferences, which is always in we'll just get that actualized. Oh, and we're going to, it didn't come up. Oh, poo, poo. But basically, we're going to also ride, and this is very typical. If you've ever seen those very colorful buses with like things on top of the buses, people sometimes hanging out, well, we're going to ride on that, and it's called a chiva. I had it in the beginning of the slide. It was a colorful bus, so we're going to have our own party bus. So that's what we're doing on day 7. So this is where we're going to a place called Santa Elena. Now, Santa Elena in the evenings, it's pretty cold. So that's definitely a place that you're gonna want to layer up. And we're going to be staying the night at a place called Madre Cocoon. The owner is a woman. I think she was born in Florida, if I'm not mistaken, lived for many years in North Carolina. And then she went on a whim to Colombia, was guided to Santa Elena, and said, and just received information that she was going to build a home here. And she's built a home and also a retreat center. So we're going to be staying there, and they have a variety of activities that they're going to be offering us. And one of them is participating in a temazcal. If you're not familiar with them, another word for it is a sweat lodge. And a sweat lodge is an opportunity to go in. Basically, what they do is during the day, they heat up these rocks, and then the rocks, they put it in the center and close the flap. And so those who are participating, we're going to sweat out a lot of our impurities. So think of a sauna times much hotter. It is very spiritual. It is definitely out of your comfort zone. And they're going to explain the safe way of participating in it. Again, it's always optional. There's also an actual sauna that you can go in. It's a small wooden space. They have a cold pool, and then they have a large location where we can do yoga and other activities. Okay, more people coming in. So then on day 9, we are back in Entre Mundos for the last time, for the last evening. So what we'll do is we'll begin the day going up to what's called the Alto de la Virgen, which is basically the Virgin's Hill, which is where they have a statue of the Virgin Maria. It's a sacred place that they go to, and we're going to have a local guide that's going to walk us there. And while we're going on this hike, there's going to be an artisan's fair that's going to be set up in the courtyard of what's called of Entre Mundos. So this will be your last time to go shopping. And what's cool is you're going to meet the artisans. You're going to be able to conversate with them. You're going to be able to learn more about what they do. And this will also be the opportunity, if you haven't had a chance to get your massages or healing session, you'll have all day to be able to do so. And these are just some of the examples. What else? And then on day 10, we'll have breakfast. You'll be gathering your things, and then we'll be all heading to the airport or wherever your next destination is. The airport's about 45 minutes away, very easy to get to. And yes, we'll have our day 9 evening ritual going out. So what makes this experience unique? As I mentioned, it's 9 full days and 9 nights. It's going to be an authentic cultural experience. You're going to have the connection with physical, spiritual, emotional, and mental wellness. It's going to give you that chance to connect internally, because you're going to have that downtime. You're going to be disconnected from the day to day. You're going to be disconnected from your loved ones, which could be like, yay, and also like, oh, you're going to miss them, and that's okay. And you're going to also have an opportunity to connect with others. We're going to have that mix of adventure, like I showed you, relaxation, and a chance to be curious and be playful. It's good, and it's all cultivated by people who live there in Medellin. So they're very connected to all of the locations that we're going to. They mean a lot to them. And so when they share all of these different experiences, they're doing it with a lot of love. So as a reminder, what's included, I know all of you already know. But basically all your lodging, so all the places that we're going to be going to, all the meals, the transportation, including to and from the airport, and then to all the activities. It's also included tips for guides and drivers, because I know in previous retreats that has been a problem. So we've made sure to make it as inclusive as possible. If there's a time, like for example, restaurants, that you want to leave a tip, that's totally up to you. We didn't include that in your cost. So just letting you know. You're also going to receive a local medical assistance card, basically local medical insurance. So that's covered as well. We always recommend that you get travel insurance anyways from the day that you leave where you live, your city, to the day that you come back, just to cover loss of flights. I know, for example, that happened to us. Bernarda and I missed our flight from Miami going to Ireland last year, and thankfully we had travel insurance and we were able to recoup that. So that was a good thing, and we had to stay the night in a hotel until we can meet the group again. So that was really, I didn't know that was going to be included, the local medical assistance, but I thought that was really nice. So y'all know the pricing. A lot of, I'm not going to go into that. What we're going to do, so this is kind of like an added bonus, that after the retreat, about 2 weeks or so, we're going to have an integration group virtual call. So very similar to what we're doing here. Like I mentioned, you'll have a 60-minute healing session of your choice during the retreat while we're at Entre Mundos, and we'll have more conversation about that. If anybody wanted to register for my upcoming Reiki class, that would be for people who are going to register now. And then we have our private Reiki What's Up group. So that is the presentation about the retreat to Colombia. So I'd love to hear from you if you have any specific questions or comments, and I will stop the recording. Yes.